is motivation? Breathe, John, Carroll, Jung, and Bach define motivation as the behavioral intensity and emotional quality of a person's active involvement during a task. And it also reflects a person's enthusiastic participation. Motivation and engagement have related to many aspects of study, such as students' working efficiency, potential, and behavior at school, students, teachers, parents' relationships, academic results, and so on. In school settings, engagement is important because it predicts students' achievement. What is more, engagement has become an observable indicator for teachers of their students. The third reason of engagement being important is that it predicts significant outcomes that also reveals underlying motivation. In Wu, Anderson, Yu, and Miller's research, they used the term interest to denote one of the dimensions of engagement. Interest has been found to have an influence on different aspects of learning, such as students' attention, goals, acquisition of knowledge, and achievements in specific subject areas. Why is motivation important in learning for students? Two of my teaching methods are both Chinese and English as second language. Both of them are about language teaching, which means boring and repeated practicing work based on stereotype of conservation. However, according to my experience as a language teacher, what I mentioned before has gradually become a barrier for students to gain good academic results because of a lack of engagement in learning a new language. Due to this, I have realized the importance of raising students' interests and engagement in learning a language. Collaborative learning allows students to work together so that some students can gain help from strong students, while strong students will gain sense of achievement by offering help to others. At the same time, this strategy minimizes tension in the classroom that stem from students' differences. What other factors linked with motivations in education? Based on research, there are a lot of factors linked with students' engagement, such as quality of the classroom settings, small group discussion, students' and teachers' relationships, and students' sense of belonging in the classrooms. Teachers' autonomy, support, and the role of technology in teaching. Engagement develops with the pace of students and teachers participating in classroom activity. The settings of classroom include the design of classroom tasks, the use of certain classroom practices, the social culture of the classroom, teachers' instructional practices, which all provide opportunities for engagement. The classrooms in the second school that I was placed within are all open space. This kind of setting makes students and teachers have no distance, so that the students in that school respect the teachers, as well as having friendly rapport. What is more, students feel like school is not scary, but pretty happy to be on campus. Under the concept of the setting of classroom, several key concepts can be covered, such as students and teachers' relationships, students' sense of belonging in the classrooms, teachers' autonomy support. Martin and Dawson believe that in school, perceptions of belonging with both teachers and peers predict greater engagement. According to Johnson and Johnson's research, the more students work in cooperative groups, the more likely they participate to develop positive attitudes towards others and towards content, and to exert more effort. Generally speaking, teachers' autonomy supports contains some strategies. Teachers can facilitate students' self-determining inner motives, identify and nurture students' needs, interests, and preferences, and guide their learning and activities. How did I implement small group and role play in teaching theories? Moreover, small group pedagogies also can be developed in a large class environment. Billing, Berger, Robertson conclude that students' learning outcomes and engagements in large classes are improved when they feel that they belong to small groups within the classes. Students' verbal communication skills and confidence through short, unrehearsed presentations can be also developed by using this pedagogy. Huan suggests small group strategy can be used if teachers want to encourage students to develop their social skills while learning academic content, share their multiple perspectives through discussion and debate. Role play is the activity that requires students to take on a role in which they pretend to be someone or something other than themselves. The teacher's role is to facilitate students and give them information about assigned roles and tasks, rather than direct teaching. Based on Huan, there are 4 types of role play. The first one is the most traditional one. A few students speak their assigned roles in a conflict or dilemma, but most of the students observe and analyze the interactions between the players. In the second form of role play, students take turns at playing the role, such as how to present themselves at an interview. All the students can develop specific skills and receive feedback. The third form takes a longer period of time for students to experience in a particular occupation. The last type is from Palmer's description. Students pretend to be anything, which is a valuable way of assessment or understanding. In summary, no matter what kind of role play is used, teachers need to plan and facilitate the role playing as well as the discussion. The main goal of role play is for students to gain knowledge and experience through the activity. How did I improve students' motivation in both of my placements? In my first placement, the action that I implement is to allocate students in groups of 4 or 5. Give them a major task to finish, and make sure every group member has a specific role, which means that the whole group needs to work collaboratively to make the task successful. I will give each group an English conversation happens under different settings, such as in the restaurant, in the hospital, asking for directions, and so on. The whole group needs to play out the scenario in Chinese language. One of the group members has to be the group leader to assign different tasks for the members in the group. The other 2 group members need to translate the English into Chinese. The last member needs to be the director to allocate the roles for the group members. All the members must learn the Chinese version of the conversation by themselves and recite them. In order to make the students pay attention to this task, I will use this task as one of the assessments in this term, and marks will be given. Besides, their performance will be recorded and make it into a video to make them with precious memory, and they will feel achieving a goal. Since feedback can be one of the powerful ways to enhance and strengthen students' learning. Parkin, Heatherstone, Holden, Irwin, and Thorpe believe that motivation is also influenced by learners' feelings of mastery and control over the learning activity and their interest in it. Therefore, once students feel being challenged, and they will have motivation to do the task. And motivation is an essential element of successful language acquisition and is a dynamic process subject to continuous flux. In my second placement, I made use of small group strategy to engage students in learning English grammar. In a unit revision lesson for articles, conjunctions, and prepositions, I like to make this lesson interesting. As a result, I decided to teach 10 minutes at the beginning and end of the lesson. 40 minutes of the lesson is developed in the form of 3 small groups rotation games. Actually, I just need to design 3 games, respectively, for articles, conjunctions, and prepositions. I also invited another 2 teachers to help me by being in charge of the other 2 games, and I am in charge of the third one. 3 groups play games at the same time, and each game takes 15 minutes. Groups exchange in turn after every 15 minutes. In this way, every student can play all the same games. I simply went through what they have learned before to let them know the purpose of this lesson. The most important point is that I tell students that they can have something fun on one condition, that they need to behave well rather than yelling out or out of control. I believe that this action works really well because there is no problem about classroom discipline for this lesson. To my surprise, I have found some students work in groups more effectively than solo study. They have active discussion and they cooperate to solve the problems, and they enjoy this way of learning. At the end of the lesson, I concluded this lesson by repeating the questions that were asked at the beginning. This time, they had better understanding than last time and offered answers in good explanation. In this lesson, I feel confident about applying small group discussion strategy into teaching, especially for revision lessons.